Hi everyone, welcome to the Piano Keys. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marina and I create courses and tutorials to help people all over the world achieve their piano goals without years of lessons. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you a way of practice that usually only people who get elite music education ever know about. It's a really important video and I hope that you'll watch it with an open mind and apply what you learn here to your practicing. I was teaching a lesson today and telling my students that there are different ways of practicing that most people never know about because they don't have the good fortune to have an elite education. What is an elite education? Well, the students who show promise or whose parents are in a position to put them in the best music schools, or someone like me who just really lucked out and got a scholarship that I had to earn to a very prestigious music school in the Los Angeles area. So we get to interact with teachers who are incredible musicians as well as really know how to teach. So there are people who can play very well, but they're not very good at teaching you how to play well. They can just demonstrate. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about teachers who really understand how to impart information to every student according to their strengths and their needs and so on. And so the education that I got was just a top level. Many of the people that I went to school with ended up having careers in music. Sometimes people say, well, I just want to play for fun. I don't need a high-level music education. And my question to you is, isn't it more fun when you can actually do the things that you want to do? Just because you don't want to make a career in music doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the best education you can have. What is more precious in life than your time? So if you're devoting your time to learning the piano, don't you want to do it the best that you can? If you don't, that's okay. No judgments. Watch a video anyway, you might get something out of it. When most people practice, they are on what I'm calling receiving mode. So you're learning, you're putting something in, you're learning a piece or an exercise. Whether you use sheet music or if you're learning by ear, you're still putting something in, right? So it's from the outside in, and I'm calling it receiving mode. This is a really important part of practicing, clearly, but you shouldn't stop there. There's another level, another step, which most people never take. And because most people never go to the next step, their progress is predictable and it's linear. And a lot of times people don't reach their full potential because they're not practicing in different ways. So you can multiply your progress exponentially, like unpredictably, by combining this mostly receiving mode of practicing with what I'm calling an active mode. And you do this by using your analytical skills at the same time as your receiving skills. Advanced musicians do this all the time. And so just because you're not an advanced musician, or maybe you don't even want to be an advanced musician, that doesn't mean that you can't use these tools to get as good as you want to get. So there are lots of ways that you can practice in this active mode. I'm going to talk about one of those today. So one of these ways to practice in active mode is by creating your own exercises from the pieces or the songs that you're already playing. This is going to take patience and a commitment to being non-judgmental about yourself, which means that you should expect it to be difficult. You should expect to make lots of mistakes. You might even expect to be frustrated at times. But making mistakes is how you learn something new. We as adults want to, quote, save time and get to the pieces that we're playing and learn them. But sometimes what we miss is that the roundabout way is actually the shorter way, meaning if you take some extra time to up your skill level in a non-obvious way, what will eventually happen is you'll save yourself a lot of time and frustration in the long run. So when I show you this technique of practicing in this video, your first reaction might be, oh no, I'm not ready for that. That is way too hard for me. I'll work up to it. Oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me for help and I told them what they can try that will really help them, and they said, oh, I'm not ready for that yet, I'll get back to you when I am, and then I never hear from them again, I'd be a very wealthy woman. So trust me when I say, as a performer and a student and a teacher, that yes, you are ready for it, even though you don't think you might be. You just have to be okay with making mistakes. You have to be okay with sometimes not knowing what to do. And you have to be okay with devoting some time to this practice without seeing immediate results. Now, as you're practicing, if you need help, then post to my Facebook group, Piano Practice Tips with the Piano Keys. If you haven't joined that group yet, you can do that now. There are questions that you do need to answer, and you do need to agree to the group rules, or I will not let you in, because we don't want scammers in there. You can also book a 15-minute Skype call with me so I can coach you on the things that are bothering you. Sometimes it literally takes me saying like 2 sentences for the light bulb to go off in my students' mind, and then they're off and running. You know, they do really well after that. So versus weeks and months of frustration and wondering what you're doing wrong, I can help you with that, okay? So if you want to book a Skype call, you can write to me. All right, so now that I've talked about it and warned you about it, let's take a look at what this practice technique is. First, I'll play for you the piece that I'm going to use for creating my own exercise. This is the A minor Invention by Bach. So there's a lot going on there. And if I were just to use this piece to create my own exercises, I would be busy for a really long time. I'll show you one thing that you can do, and you can apply this to any piece that you are working on. It doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be advanced, it's whatever you're working on. What you do basically is pick one item, and we'll talk about what constitutes an item, one item from that piece, and you practice it in different ways that I'm going to show you. So an item can be as little as like 2 notes. So imagine if I'm playing this piece that I just played, and I take the left hand and I just do that octave. I can practice it in the ways I'm going to show you. Or I can take the right hand, just that much, or even just that much, or just that much. So what I'm saying is this is completely customizable to whatever you're working on, okay? So I'm going to show you something that's a little more involved so that you can see how it's applied to a segment that's kind of on the longer side. So if you look at the left hand, there's this figure here. I'm going to take that as my exercise. So first I learn it where it's written, which is here, and that happens to be in the key of A minor. Okay, so if, by the way, I've had a lot of people ask me if practicing scales is a good idea. So the answer, the very short answer to that is yes and no. If you practice them correctly, it's a great idea. If you just play them over and over, going up and down on your keyboard, it might even be a waste of your time. So if you're interested in me creating a course that teaches you how to practice scales and arpeggios for the best results, then email me and let me know. So if I have enough people that are interested, then I'll go ahead and make the course, and then I'll email you back letting you know when it's ready. So the email address is on your screen, thepianokeystpk@gmail.com. All right, so I'm going to take this, and I know it's in the key of A minor. So what I can do is I can go around the circle of fifths. The circle of fifths is basically a way to represent all 12 major keys and their corresponding minor keys. So basically we're talking about Western music here. And if you go clockwise on the circle of fifths, then each note that you see is up a fifth, interval of a fifth, from the previous note. But if you go counterclockwise, then they're fourths apart. So going to the right, going clockwise, we have fifths, and going counterclockwise, we have fourths. All right, you can go in either direction, it doesn't matter. It's still called the circle of fifths, even though we know that it's fifths in one direction and fourths in the other direction. So I'm going to practice this exercise that I just created out of a segment of Bach's work, and I'm going to go around the circle of fifths. So I know that I'm in the key of A right now. If I go 5 notes higher using the A minor scale, I come to an E. That means my next note that I'm going to start this exercise on is going to be on E. And I'll do it down here. And my idea here is to keep the same fingering as much as possible. I don't know if I will be able to, but I'm going to try. So basically I have 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, 5, 2, 1, and then 2. So I'm going to do that on the note E. So how did I know that I was supposed to use an F sharp here? Because I'm now in the key of E minor, and there is the E natural minor scale. So this is a huge topic. If you need work on how to figure out scales, then comment below and let me know, and I'll start making tutorials to help you with those. So now if I go up 5 notes in the key of E, I come to B. So my next one is going to be starting on B. Now here, look at that, I immediately have a black key. Okay, now if I keep going, here's B. I go up 5 notes in the key of B, and I come to F sharp. That means my next one will start on F sharp. Okay, and then if I go up 5 notes in the key of F sharp, come to C sharp, and I practiced it in the key of C sharp. Now go up 5 notes in the key of C sharp, and I come to G sharp or A flat, however you want to think of it is fine. Okay, so now I'm here. I'm going to go up 5 notes, and here we are in the key of E flat. I don't know if I'm using the same fingering. Okay, I can use the same fingering as the original, or different fingering if I want a different experience. This is all completely customizable to whatever you're wanting to accomplish. So then if I'm in the key of E flat and I go up 5 notes in this scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm in the key of B flat now. So okay, go up 5 notes from B flat, I come to F, and I go starting on 3rd finger. Okay, so that was key of F. If I go up 5 notes, I come to C minor. So that was C minor, go up 5 notes, G minor, and then I go up 5 notes from G, I come to D minor. Go up 5 notes from D, and I'm back to my original. So I went around all 12 minor keys and I practiced this exercise. So why would you want to do this? Isn't it way more work than just learning the piece? Yeah, it is. It's way more work. But guess what? Just like exercising makes you stronger, so doing these exercises not only gets your fingers in better shape, but also trains your mind. It trains your mind to think in different keys, so that you have to know about theory a little bit. It's teaching you to find patterns on the piano more easily, so that when you're learning your pieces, you're not just looking at a keyboard, you're starting to see patterns. Another thing it's doing for you is because you're working sometimes on black keys, sometimes on white keys in different positions, what it's doing is kind of forcing you to work out your technique in different ways without having to learn a whole bunch of different exercises. It's basically the same exercise over and over, but you're doing it in different places, which makes it a challenge to your hand and to your mind. You're also, what you're doing is you're having to think about shapes. Okay, so what's a shape? Well, that's a shape, right? That's a shape. So when we're playing piano, we don't, the better you get at it, you don't think note by note. You think in groups, you think in shapes, you think in chords, things like that. That's what allows more advanced pianists to play these really difficult pieces. And you look at them and you go, how is it possible that a human being is able to do that? It's because we're not thinking note by note, okay? We're starting to think in bigger groups like shapes, chords, intervals, things like that. You're teaching yourself how to also use your ear in playing music. So playing by ear is a really important skill to have. And sometimes people can't do it. All they can do is copy or read music. And if you ask them to play by ear, they're not able to do that. So the reason ear training, this is called ear training, is important is because, again, it trains your mind to be a musical mind, meaning it understands these concepts a lot better. It has more soil to plant this musical ideas in. Okay, so if you just want to learn one piece in your entire life and not learn any other pieces, then you don't have to train yourself like this. But I think that's pretty rare. I think once you learn a piece, then you want to learn another piece and another piece. And then you come to a point where you get frustrated because you don't understand why, even though someone is showing you what notes to play, you can't play them. Well, probably because you don't have good technique and you haven't trained your mind to be a musical mind. Okay, so if you want to get good technique, check out my Become a Piano Superhero course. It's a life changer. It's a game changer. It's going to make you into the pianist that you really want to be. All right. So all of these different things are helping you to become a better pianist, a better musician. And all you're doing is you're taking one exercise that you picked from whatever piece you're working on, and you're taking it around the circle of fifths. Now, here's another thing you can do. You can go up or down the keyboard chromatically, meaning you go one note at a time. So if I play the original and I say I want to go up one note chromatically and do it here, then I go up another. Oops, that made a mistake. How did I know that? Because my ear told me that doesn't sound right. That sounds right. Okay, so I'm listening. Next. So I'm going up one note at a time. Oops. Again, my ear told me that was wrong. Getting really high here, so I'm going to lean to the right so that I'm not crossing over my body with my arm. And then I'm back to A. I can also go down chromatically. I'm able to do this quickly because I've already trained myself how to work with patterns and ear training, all the things I just told you about. But I don't have to go this fast. I can go slower. fast. Apply this, oops, apply this to your own situation. You may not be on my level, that's okay. You're at whatever level you're on now, so don't compare yourself to anybody else, because that's just a waste of time. And I'm back to where I started, okay? So I went up chromatically and then down chromatically. Chromatically is in that way, so where you're playing every single note, okay? There's another way I can do it. I can go up or down in whole steps. So what's a whole step? A whole step is when you have two keys with one key in the middle, okay? So here I am, original. Now I'm gonna go up by whole steps. So my next note will be B that I'm starting on. Then C sharp. Then E flat. Then F, and then G, and then A. Notice I got to A, but we didn't play every single one because we're only going up by whole steps. So we started on A, now we need to start a half step higher than that so that we'll hit the other keys. There it is. And then back where we started. This is a whole lot of work. I'm showing you kind of quickly because, you know, people's attention spans these days. So anyway, the point is you can pause anywhere in this video, or you can go, you know, slow it down to 0.75 speed and stop and work where you need to work. And again, you don't have to do this pattern. This is pretty advanced. Do your own pattern. It could be as little as 2 notes. And then we can also do going up or down in minor thirds. Like there's a million ways you can do it. I'm going to show you one more. So what's a minor third? A minor third is 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You can watch my 7 kinds of chords videos to learn about half steps and whole steps and all that. All right, so this is a minor third. And why would I want to practice going in minor thirds? Well, it's a pretty common way to move in music. Practicing moving in thirds, whether it's major or minor, is basically practicing like a real world type of situation in music. Moving by thirds, very, very common. So let's try that. So if I go up a third, it's on C. Hey, that's the last note of my pattern, so those are going to be really easy to find. So my next one's going to start on E flat. I'm going to do down here. Next one's going to start on F sharp. Oops. And again, that was my ear that told me that's wrong. Ah, okay. Okay. I'm going back to A. Anyway, you can move in whatever direction you want, but here's the thing. You want to challenge yourself to your level. You know, if you're challenging to the point where you just don't even know what you're doing anymore, that might be too big of a challenge. You want to challenge to the point where you're really having to think about it. Okay? The thinking part, just like in exercise, lifting the barbell part, that's the part that trains you. Okay, so don't be afraid of having to stop and think about things. If you don't want to think, what you're actually doing is making it harder to learn pieces. I always tell people this. They say, I just want to play music. Well, that's great. That's what we all want. How good do you want to get? If you want to always have a struggle, then you'll stay to just playing pieces. If you want to bring your level up as a musician, you'll learn as much as you can about moving around the keyboard. You'll do exercises the right way. Technique exercises done the wrong way are just going to hurt you. You'll practice scales, again, the right way. And what does it mean the right way? The right way means that you're not hurting yourself physically by doing wrong movements, and you're not wasting time practicing things that actually don't take you forward, okay? So that's what I call the right way. There's a lot to talk about on this, but I hope that you got the main point of it, which is to create your own exercises from tiny portions of whatever piece you're working on. Okay, so let me know what you think. Leave me a comment or a question. So yes, it's difficult. Yes, it takes time, but the results that you get will be unlike anything that you might have ever expected for yourself. Okay, so go check out my website, thepianokeys.com. Lots of courses and tutorials and sheet music and free stuff there for you. I'm on Instagram, The Piano Keys, TPK. You can join my Facebook group, Piano Practice Tips with The Piano Keys. And I also have a page on Facebook called The Piano Keys. Have fun, keep practicing, and I will see you soon.